Hey guys, welcome back to Forest Firearms. This is Thomas. I got another historical weapon to show you guys. The French MLE model 1892. It's a French service revolver that saw use from 1892 until about the 1960s. The French used these extensively in the First and Second World Wars. Primarily an officer's pistol in the First World War. If you saw a guy with a revolver, you could pretty well be certain that you can rally behind him, because the average infantry soldier in the French military did not have a sidearm. There's a lot of interesting things about this revolver. And it actually pairs very nicely with my Berthier carbine, because, maybe an artillery officer might be carrying this exact setup right here. Now, this revolver, particularly, is manufactured in 1922, so it is post-World War I. But it has no import marks. Now, with both this and the Berthier, and really any other French weapon from the era, they came into the US in primarily 4 batches. Right after World War I, right after World War II, and then in the 70s, and I believe the 90s, but don't quote me on that. But the 2 later batches, what can be certain is almost 100% of those have import marks on them. Goes to show that basically this and this girl here both had to have come back here almost certainly in the Second World War, right at the end of the Second World War. Because when Germany invaded, in the Second World War, when Germany invaded, they took the French's weapons and reallocated them to their own troops. And that's how, when we came to take France back during the liberation, a lot of our GIs picked up French weapons off German corpses. So, this gun, too old to be World War II. This, or too late in manufacture to be World War II, excuse me, but this guy right here has a couple of modifications that I've learned more about this gun since I did the last video with it. These went through a lot of changes over the course of their lives. For one thing, I can't remember if it was the 20s or 30s, but this right here slot, you can actually see there's a ridge here. It used to be a cleaning rod that went down the length of the gun. They filled this in with a strip of wood and took out the cleaning rod. They just figured that it was useless and obsolete. Also, they cut out a notch in your hand cover here so you could see the serial number. And then there's also the barrel modification for the slightly larger cartridge that was used in, I believe it was the 30s. And this has all those modifications, so it is post-World War I, though this is a 1918 manufactured gun. Would have been used in the First World War, most likely, but would have come back to us in the Second World War. Again, no import marks, so it has to have been out of one of those first 2 batches. So I'm not going to be shooting this old gal today. I don't have much ammo for it, and ammo's pretty scarce for both of these. For that matter, ammo for the 1892 is quite horrendously expensive when there's only one company that I've found that makes it. It's Fiocchi, and they only make a small batch of them each year, or maybe twice a year. But when that batch dries up, people scalp the prices of these just horrendously. I had to pay almost $2.75 a shot for this. It's really quite painful, but I get to shoot the old gal, so let's go ahead and give it a try. This is double and single action. Okay. All right, yep, spits out really nice. You got out the side, like much like a 1917, but it comes out on the opposite side. 1917, you're gonna come out on the left side of the gun. These guys come out on the right side of the gun. In appearance, it looks more like a Nagant, but it actually functions more like a 1917. You just got this lever here that allows you to open, and you can check for whether or not you fired by opening this and just rotating with the trigger. And you got, this is a reproduction holster, but this is the same style that they would have used. It's a funky looking holster, I gotta say, guys. I mean, this is just a weird looking thing and a strange design. Got a little clasp, pull down and out, and you can keep your ammo in here. I've got 6 more shots. So, for one thing, this gun actually has like excellent recoil control. The 8mm Lebel, of which is confusing because both the revolver and rifle use what is called an 8mm rimmed Lebel. But yeah, 8mm French ordnance is the more technical name for the one used in the revolver, whereas 8x50 rimmed Lebel would be your more accurate description for the rifle cartridge. So if you have both of these guns or one of these guns, be careful when ordering ammo that you don't order for the revolver when you got the rifle, or vice versa. So again, your 6 shots, lock it back up, you just close the cover there. You know, the hammer's got some really nice tread on it, actually grips your thumb pretty well, and with the compact nature of the revolver, it's a pretty natural transition to the hammer. These can seem a little scary as they have a lot of play, but when you pull the trigger, lockup is tight. So, and this, by the way, manufactured by Saint Etienne, and going back to manufacture on the Berthier carbine, I had stated in the video about the carbine that it was manufactured by Contin Souza. That is not holistically wrong, but also not wholly right. The actual manufacturer of the gun is Châtellerault. Saint Etienne also made Berthiers, not as many, but Châtellerault contracted out the receivers to a few other companies, including Contin Souza. So that is where the Contin Souza stamp on the gun comes from. It is a Contin Souza manufactured receiver. The gun actually manufactured by Châtellerault. And also, like the Berthier, and this is just another shout out for our friends at the Warfront. That's where I picked this girl up. They're a nice little vintage firearms and antique collectibles store on 99E in Milwaukee. And, you know, they're open Wednesday to Saturday. I believe it's 11 to 6. And, you know, if you go in there, tell Drew that the guys at Forest Firearms sent you. Drew or Lawrence, you know, whoever happens to be there at the time. Good guys, worked out some really good deals with both me and Ivan, working out more deals with them as we speak. And, you know, I just got done paying this gun off through them. So thank you guys again. And, you know, I'm going to go ahead and take this last 6. I'm going to alternate from single to double. All right, it's all 6. And another little thing, the sights on this are really nice. You got a rounded bead that fits in the notch up here really nicely. Got a really good looking sight picture, and it seems to hit pretty well on point of aim. I've not had 100% accuracy, but this is the first time I've gotten the chance to shoot this gun. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. I've got both the carbine and the revolver that the French used in both the First and Second World Wars. And, you know, as we enhance the collection, we'll be showing you guys more videos. Meantime, I hope you enjoyed this one. It's Thomas of Forest Firearms, and I'll see you next time.